In 17th and 18th century New England, capital punishment was carried out in public. However, the emerging middle class in 19th century America considered the death penalty an unnecessary act of cruelty. The 20th century capital punishment system changed to suit the conflicts between the established and evolving views concerning capital punishment. In response to the emerging middle class sensibility, new execution techniques were invented to make executions seem necessary and routine. Although various methods of execution, including burning, breaking on the wheel, and decapitating, have been used in the history of the United States, hanging remained the most common method of executing criminals. The electric chair and the lethal injection were two of the most frequently used methods during the 20th century. In 1977, Oklahoma chose lethal injection as the preferred mode of executing criminals. The lethal injection protocol includes a dose of sodium thiopental, which puts the prisoner to sleep, followed by a muscle relaxant paralyzing the lungs, and then potassium chloride stopping the heart. Today, executions by lethal injection are carried out in carefully designed enclosed structures such as the San Quentin Lethal Injection Facility in California. The San Quentin Lethal Injection Facility contains 3 witness viewing areas, a holding cell, an infusion control room, a security team area, restrooms, and an execution room. The witness viewing areas surround the execution room and accommodate up to 50 individuals. The victim and prisoner's families sit in 2 different viewing areas facing one another at the opposite ends of the execution room. They view the execution through one-way mirrors, preventing them from seeing one another. Members of the press occupy the 3rd viewing area. Inmates can meet with spiritual advisors in a secure space adjacent to the holding cell. Security team areas are located near the holding cell and contain an observation post, a search area, a preparation area, and a staff restroom. The infusion control room is next to the preparation area and execution room, which the infusion and intravenous teams use to administer the drugs. During the execution, the warden is stationed in the execution room and directs the infusion and intravenous teams through a one-way mirror. The one-way mirror prevents the identities of the members of the intravenous team from being revealed to the members of the press who sit at the opposite end of the execution chamber from the infusion control room. The inmate receives their last meal in the holding cell. 15 minutes before the execution, the inmate is brought to the execution room and secured to the gurney. The leader of the lethal injection team supervises the insertion of the catheters by the intravenous team, while the security team waits in the adjacent room. Once the intravenous lines are inserted, the infusion team administers the drugs from the mixing and infusion room. The curtains on the viewing windows are drawn, and the witnesses are escorted out of the facility after the determination of the inmate's death. The modern capital punishment apparatus was invented to sanitize death and to protect witnesses from a traumatic scene. The need to deliver a symbolic message about crime and punishment also influenced the design of the death chambers. The ceremonial aspects of modern executions allowed the state to carefully craft and deliver a symbolic message denoting the triumph of good over evil. Rituals use bodily movements, speech acts, and symbolic artifacts to project a narrative about social relationships. Rituals produce a shared account when participating members coordinate their actions. To paint the ritual of execution as a necessary deterrent against crime, all participants, including the victim, are required to exhibit a specific type of behavior. The victim must walk willingly to the gallows and display remorse to indicate that they believe in positive social values. When a victim does not behave as expected and has to be forcibly taken to the gallows, it portrays the execution as an act of cruelty. Moving executions from public to private gave the state more control over the execution proceedings and the delivery of a message about crime and punishment. The modern capital punishment system was created to strike a balance between 2 conflicting ideas. Capital punishment is barbaric, and capital punishment deters crime. 20th century techniques of administering capital punishment afforded a new outlook toward the death penalty, characterized by the coexistence of an individual's disgust of cruelty and their collective decision to support the death penalty as a deterrent against crime.